Well, no matter how many times you hunt a spot, there's always more just waiting to be found. Well, welcome to Finding America. It is really nice to see you here. Now, I have to say, I absolutely loved both of these hunts that you're about to see. And the first one took place at a site where a pair of turn-of-the-century homes once stood. Now, I found some really great things there in the past that the families who had once lived there left behind. Well, I can definitely say the temperatures were boiling hot and the ground was definitely rock hard. But I had an absolute blast out there for at least a few hours. Well, my Manticore definitely came through for me at this spot once again, and I found some really interesting things, and I hope you enjoy watching them come out of the ground. Well, this one was giving me a signal in the low 40s on my VDI, and took me a little while to get down to it. The ground is still very hard. Let me turn my pinpointer off. Yeah, this area has not got the rain. Ground is super hard, so I finally chipped it out, and I saw that, and I saw these lines. You see these lines here? I knew what that was right away. That was going to be a piece of newspaper typeset, and yeah, you can see a few words on it. It's part of a much larger piece. But that's usually how I find them, and it's pretty cool. It's dated back when they actually used typeset to print the newspapers. Not all computerized and online like today. Well, this is pretty cool. Just going along here with the M9 coil, and I got a kind of a mixed signal. It was like in the 60s, and I dug down and I felt this on the side of the hole, and I pulled out a pretty good sized rusty nail. And I was hoping that wasn't my signal, but you never know. But I ran the coil over it, and then it started banging in the low 70s. And check out what popped out right underneath that rusty nail. Got myself a nice old weedy, and yeah, nice and clean. And I cleaned it off already, and pretty nice one too. This is going to be a 1910 Philadelphia mint. Let me see if I can sweat's all in my eyes. I'm having trouble seeing it, but yeah, it's definitely a nice old coin, and a really nice get, you know, getting it underneath that big rusty nail. So I was very happy with the results of this one. And yeah, the Manticore is just a dream to use, and I am actually using it in all-terrain fast, and also with the depth audio theme. It just the depth audio theme just really bangs on the targets, amplifies the signal, and it just is much hotter. So I enjoy using that a lot. Well, this next one was giving me a 87 to 88 signal. Said it was only about 2-3 inches down, and I thought it was going to have a clad quarter, but no, check it out. I found like looks like the house number to the house that once stood on this lot. I'm thinking it was a 9. It's got the hole up here, but it could have been a 6, I guess. But my money's on 9. But it's pretty cool. It's definitely a nice heavy metal number, and I will definitely take that. That beats a clad quarter. Well, this one was ringing in the low 60s, and I pulled it out, and I thought it must be a zinc, but I was seeing some green, but it's actually a really kind of a pretty deteriorated wheat penny. Can't read the date on it, but I'll check it out when I get home. And but hey, that beats a zinc. I was convinced that was a zinc, but bringing in around a 65. Well, this one was giving me a 63 to 65. Actually turned out to be something I've never found before. And pretty darn cool. I wasn't thinking much about it. When I dug it up, I was like, wheel, some miscellaneous piece of metal. And I wiped this side off, there's nothing on it. And I wiped the other side. Check it out. Hopefully you can get that. It says coin meter token. Is that not cool? I've never seen one that style, that shape. I don't even think I've dug very many parking meter tokens, so really cool. I definitely like that. Now, the very first parking meter ever installed in America was in Oklahoma City all the way back in 1935. And the man who invented the parking meter was Carl McGee, who also ran the city's newspaper. Well, Carl decided to get involved in local government and soon found himself heading up the Traffic Commission. Now, traffic was a serious problem back then, and it was a problem that had yet to be worked out. You see, back in 1913, when the automobile was starting to catch on, there were only 3,000 drivers in Oklahoma City. But by 1930, that number had risen to a staggering 500,000 registered drivers. Well, with that many cars on the road, parking was an absolute nightmare in the city. People that worked in the city and in the stores got there early in the morning and they snapped up all the good parking spaces. So when people came in to shop at the stores, they had to spend a long time driving around, and they usually had to park a long distance from where they wanted to shop. It was a very frustrating situation. Well, Carl started thinking about it, and he worked on it for quite a while, and he came up with a solution to where he wanted to make some sort of a parking timer. Well, he eventually got a working model of a parking meter and called it Park-O-Meter. Well, soon it got a nickname called the Black Mariah. And let's just say the Black Mariah caused quite a stir from the moment it was bolted into the cement. Well, as you might imagine, a lot of people in Oklahoma City did not take to these things right away. They all thought that there was an unfounded tax upon them. And they started a meter movement in protest. And what they would do is they'd come into town each day and feed nickels into those parking meters and then tie their horse up there and leave it. And they even went so far as to bring a card table and chairs and have bridge games hour after hour in those spaces. And they did all this in hopes that the city would be forced into removing those horrible machines. Well, unfortunately for the protesters, the city did not remove those parking meters, but the people eventually realized that it was worth the nickel to be able to get a great parking spot close by to the store they wanted to visit, instead of having to drive around for 20 or 30 minutes before they could even begin their shopping. And by 1940, there were 140,000 parking meters all across the country. And of course, there was one downside that people learned very quickly about parking meters. Once the time expired, in this case an hour, a flag would pop up to let you know that it was time to feed another nickel in. And if you didn't get that nickel in time, you'd get a parking ticket. So who was the very first person to ever get a parking ticket in America? Believe it or not, it was a Reverend C.H. North of Oklahoma City. Now you have to understand, these parking meters hadn't been installed for very long, and he pulled into town, drove up to the store, and realized he hadn't brought any change for the parking meter. So he decided he would run into the store, break $1, and he ran right back out to the parking meter, only to find out, yeah, he had a parking ticket. Well, he pled his case at court with the judge, and luckily the judge was very compassionate, and he let him go without a fine. Well, I think I have something pretty cool right here. Ringing in the upper 40s. A nice signal. I'm like, well, let's go for it. You know, this is a good example of why I dig it all, because there's always something interesting in the hole a lot of times. And I'd say about 6-7 inches down, I finally threw it up on the drop cloth here. And yeah, I grabbed the camera. That looks like the top to some sort of a metal. It has like 2 loops on the bottom to suspend something below. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Huh. I'm probably going to need both hands to clean this off a little bit, but I'll tell you what, let me get it cleaned up. I'll be right back, but it's definitely old and definitely interesting. Well, there she is. It says souvenir. So this is probably some type of souvenir medal, and my guess would be a World's Fair medal, but I'll never know for sure. But one thing's for sure, this is late 1800s, early 1900s. I don't know if it has anything on the backside, but that is a very cool piece, and I am definitely very happy to have found it. Well, I wasn't thinking there was going to be much anything in this hole, but I'm just digging every signal, and this was giving me like a 27, 28, really strange signal, just choppy and elongated smear on my screen. And so I'm like, what the heck? It's just getting so hot out here. I'm just like, let's dig this one up. And I popped the plug and I saw it. Check this out. I got 2 buttons in one hole, I believe. Probably workwear buttons. There's one, and here's the other one, iron side up. So that is pretty cool. So I just grabbed the camera and wanted to show you how they were sitting in the hole. But I'm going to go ahead and clean them up a little bit, and we'll see if they have anything on them. But that's very cool. Find a couple of them in one hole. Well, they're pretty crusty, but I think they are both Big Ben buttons, which is a brand of overall going way back in 20s, 30s. And I'm going to have to put these in the apple cider vinegar and definitely let them soak for a while and work on them. But very cool. I'm definitely happy to have them. Well, after that hunt, we finally got some heavy rains, and I was praying we'd have soft ground to dig in. Well, as it turned out, the ground was soft, and I decided to go to a longtime permission of mine, the old mansion on the hill. A mansion built all the way back in 1905. Now, I've hunted this place for a long time, all the way back to the beginnings of this channel, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to find very much, but one thing was going to be different. This time, I was going to be bringing the Manticore for the very first time to this site. Well, wouldn't you know it, that Manticore, it impressed me yet again. Decided to come back to one of my long-standing permissions at the old mansion on the hill, and you know, I haven't been here with the Manticore. Last time I was here, I was hammering it with the 900 and had great results, so I'm already getting signals again. I'm using the M9 coil with the Manticore, and I'm running it in the program, the All Train Fast and the Audio Theme Depth. And got a few pieces of garbage and some can slaw, and then I got this 40 to 43 signal. Nothing crazy, but it's pretty cool. It's early 1900s, and it's a real nice early Peters 410 cartridge shell. So very cool. I found a lot of the 410s here. I think they were hunting bird up here on the hill, and yeah, so this one's going to be in the teens into the late 20s, somewhere in there. So happy to find that, and that's a good sign. There's still signals here. just starting to work this area close to the driveway. I mean, every inch of this place I've been on. I've been hunting this place since the beginning of my channel. And I've had a very good relationship with the homeowner here, and she has quite the collection in her own museum. And all pieces from her family that lived here. So I was getting like a 42, and boy, thank God we've had some rain lately, because it is beautiful digging today. It's hot, but it's nice digging. So anyway, let me get back to what I turned the camera on for. Got a 42 here, nice tight, nice round signal on my screen, and I pulled it out about 4 inches down, and I just wanted to show it to you before I clean it, because I think there's some design on it. Oh yeah, there's definitely some type of design on this. Let me get you in on this. Isn't that cool? Don't know what it is yet, but let me get it cleaned up and I'll be right back. But it might have design on both sides, I don't know. Maybe a piece of maybe a jewelry piece or something, I don't know. We'll take a look at that. That's pretty awesome. I think it might be a link to a bracelet, and it might be an Asian motif. I do see a songbird and some vines, and maybe a bit of a Chinese character there, but it's hard to tell right now. This will be one to stick in the apple cider vinegar and see if I can get the rest of the crud off. But very cool piece, and if I had to date it, early 1900s, 1910, 1920s, somewhere in there maybe. But yeah, can't wait to see what it looks like after I get it cleaned up. Well, this is a bit of a sight for sore eyes. It's giving me about a 40, and give me an elongated signature in one direction. And I was hoping, I really was, and it turned out to be exactly what I was hoping for. Check this out. I gave it a little pop, and oh yeah. Well, it's been a while, hasn't it? I was having a streak there where I couldn't stop finding them. I had a little dry streak, but nope, there you go. A railroad spike, and you know what that means. It's time for a very cool old train picture. Well, this is something I do find a lot up on this hill. They did a lot of hunting around this old mansion, and I got another early shotgun shell. This is going to be a 20 gauge, but I just had to film it because it's in absolutely beautiful condition. And they don't usually come out like this. Check that out. Remington United Metallic cartridge, I believe. It's been a while since I've dug one of these up. But a Remington UMC Nitro Club. Another early 1900s, first quarter of the century. And yeah, absolutely beautiful condition. So I just had to film that one real quick. Well, this one was giving me a 44. Now, this hillside, I believe the family used as a bit of a dump back in the day. I found a lot of stuff that you would associate with one, but a lot of great things in here as well. You know, from Indian heads and a dragnet badge, and the list goes on and on. So when I got a 44 as a big signal, I'm like, well, let's clear it out. And this is what it turned out to be. I'm guessing some type of a spade or shovel head, but there were still bits and pieces of rusty metal in here. But I got one signal, and thinking it was just rusty metal, I went and grabbed it, and I got lucky. Look at there, something good hiding in the middle of all that rusty metal. So it does pay to be thorough, and a lot of times this big rusty metal will be masking something, and it seemed that it was this time. So it's a bit of a little suspender buckle. It's the gripper portion. And hopefully when I get it cleaned off, it might have a maker's mark or a patent date or something like that on it. But I will definitely take that. Well, right there is where I got the shovel head and the suspender buckle piece. And I filled it in, cleared out some more of the metal junk, and ran my coil down below it after I filled the hole in, and I got a 60 signal here. And check this out, I got an old 10. And I'm like, well, let's see if there's anything on it. And I gave it a brush, and look at that. There is something coming through. I don't know what it is yet, but I thought I'd give you a look at it before I got it all cleaned off. And it's got a hole blown into it from long ago. But let me get it sprayed down and scrubbed up. Let's see if we can figure out what this is. Well, it does have some type of logo on it. Let me get you in on it here. Looks like a big stylized S. I can make it an O, some letter, and then a Y, I believe. So I am not sure exactly what it says. Might be coming through better on the camera. But I'll get it cleaned up when I get home. Well, I wish it was in a little better shape, but hopefully I can figure out the brand. And it's definitely early 1900s, all day long, but neat little piece. Well, this hole definitely surprised the heck out of me. Still working this area near the driveway, and got a signal. It was like a 52, and I'm like, well, let's dig it. It wasn't even that great at all. And I dug down, and I got a nail. Excuse me, got a gnat in my mouth. Got a nail, and I was like, well, that could have been it. So I went in and checked the hole. And I was getting sort of a medium strength signal, and I looked at my screen and it was reading like 70, and I'm like, wow, okay. So I dug down, threw a little bit up on the drop cloth, and then I was sort of fishing around the dirt, and check it out. I think I got a silver dime. I can't believe it. Been over this ground so many times. Right here, see that? I just grabbed the camera. No idea what it is. I don't know. I'm guessing probably going to be a Merc, hopefully. But I have gotten a seeded coin here before. Not going to be that this time though. Yep, it's a Merc. Check that out. There's the backside. Looks like a Philadelphia mint. And let me put a little water on this. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, that feels good. Taking all this rust and odds and ends and then getting surprised with a nice little mercury dime. That's going to be a 1942 Philadelphia. And I will definitely check that for a 42 over 41. Maybe I'll get lucky. I feel lucky enough just getting a Merc out here. That's beautiful. That really feels good. I've been digging some holes and finding some cool stuff, but it's nice to know there's still some old coins out here. Well, I tell you, this is a beautiful day. Our high is supposed to be 83 today. Tomorrow's 90s. I am trying to get it done today, but it's beautiful. It's still hot, but get a breeze, occasional clouds. So yeah, I was down here digging it all like I always do here, and got a 2930 signal. Yeah, I think it's worth filming. It's a little wick holder to an old lantern. So very cool. Probably one that they used inside the house here or at the old stables. Oh boy, I think I have something good in the hole here. Yeah, I tell you, I was getting tired, and I'm thinking, man, I'm gonna have to quit for the day. But I'm like, nah, let's keep going, just take a break. So I did, and then I got my detector, started swinging again. dug up a couple pieces of junk. Then I came up here, got a 62 to 63 signal. Said it was in the plug, so I was like, oh well, don't know. So, but look at this here. Sorry, I'm still trying to catch my breath. It is definitely rough out here. But look at there. I've got something round, and I'm hoping it's an Indian with those numbers. I just grabbed the camera. I can't imagine a weedy coming in this low, unless there's a piece of garbage in the hole too, dragging the numbers down. Oh no, I got an Indian. I can see the wreath. Oh boy, that is awesome. Not bad, I tell you what. A couple nice coins, some nice relics. Yeah, you can definitely see the bust of the Indian now. I'll tell you what, let me get this cleaned off. Looks like it's going to be in pretty good shape, and I'll see what year it is. But I am really thrilled. The Manticore just never ceases to amaze me. I pounded this area with the 900. I could have just missed this one, but I don't know. It's no matter what, I'll take it, and I'll be right back. Let's see what date this is. Well, let's see, get it out here. Unfortunately, the date side was sunny side up in the hole, so it developed a very thick coating on it, which I should be able to get off. Other side looks pretty nice. You can see it right there. But I'll work on it when I get home, figure out what date it is, but I am thrilled with that. Nothing like getting an Indian head penny. Well, I really had a lot of fun out there. I made some great finds, and I really love it when I can find some great history too. Now, don't go anywhere just yet. Stick around to the end of this episode, because I have a link there that'll take you to the next episode in the Never Hunted Mansion series. And this episode was another awesome one. Well, I really hope you enjoyed watching this episode, and remember, it's history that makes a find a treasure. And I cannot wait to see you back here next week on Finding America.